from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juices pumping, boys.
All right, welcome to another great Saturday morning with Crunch Time Sports. I am Caleb Czarnik. I'm here with Michael Gentry. Got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Tigers, Wings, Pistons. Mike, we were talking before the show. I'm excited to talk about the Wings because, look, I'm not going to sit here and say I've watched every Wings game, but the ones I tune into, they're an electric team. They're an electric club. And the game on Thursday, that was unbelievable. But we'll get to that in a second. Mike, how we feeling? How was your week? How you feeling right now?
It was good. It was good. Obviously I missed you last week, so I was looking forward to this stream, and we had a good stretch with the Red Wings, at least while I was gone, four in a row. So we're stringing it together.
Yes, sir.
It wasn't likewise for the Pistons. You know, they dropped 3 in a row on you. So we'll talk about that too. But okay. Hey, I've been great. We have a big event today too. Shout out to Tyler Conklin. We're going to his foundation later today around noon. So we ask all the people to come out, show support for our guy. But I've been great, Caleb. How about you?
I've been good. But let me say this, Mike, regarding me being a morning person, not much of a morning person. So obviously we had to move the show up an hour today because, like you said, going to the Tyler Conklin Foundation. Really excited for that. I've been looking forward to it all week. So you know, I'm happy to move the show 1 hour earlier for that. But yeah, not a morning person. And Mike, kind of a random question. Are you like a coffee guy?
So I was like a big coffee guy at one point, and then now I've moved on to like the energy drinks. So I drink two a day, no matter what it is. You know, you've seen my Gatorade ones, fast twitches. That's usually my morning go-to. But I used to be a huge coffee guy, and then it just stopped doing it for me. So I had to move on. What about you?
The reason I bring it up is because I recently just switched to black coffee, kind of like a real man, and it's let me say this, worst decision I've ever made in my life. People that like enjoy black coffee are not human. This stuff is disgusting, but we're gonna power through it.
It's like an acquired taste. You know, you have to just keep drinking it, and then you'll eventually just, you know, it'll settle in with you and you'll like it. So we'll see.
Because right now we're not off to a good start. We're not off to a good start.
I'm still usually a double if I'm getting a coffee, but I mean, I respect it.
Yeah.
That's a man's coffee, like you said.
It's a no-go for me right now. But, you know, trying to cut out like all the creams and stuff, all the fancy stuff. And don't get me wrong, dude, if I'm going to Starbucks or something, I'm ripping all the creams, the caramel, all that stuff.
The pumps that they let you put in it.
But it's like drinking Scott. It kind of is. It's like I'm gonna have to get used to it. But it is a kick in the balls in the morning. It's so strong. It's almost bitter. It wakes
you right up. It wakes you right up. Gets you ready to go. So
it does. And you know, it woke me up the other day. Well, I guess I found out that Scott Harris was awake. Makes a move, Tommy Canley. I love this move, man. 35-year-old reliever. Spent last year with the Yankees through 40. I think it was 1 year, $7 million for Canley. Through 42 innings for the Yankees last year, 2.11 ERA. Dude, I love this signing. This guy, he threw in his career, he's thrown 30 innings in the playoffs, so he has playoff experience. He has a 3 ERA in the playoffs, and one of the best changeups in baseball. That changeup is going to be so beneficial for other guys in this bullpen. Like when we're talking about guys like Bo Brisky, Jason Foley, Alex Lang, if Alex Lang is going to be a part of that roster, because they're all hard throwers. And you throw Canley in the 8th, because I'm assuming he's going to be, you know, a setup man, because what we needed, you know, in free agency was a late game reliever. And Canley's that guy. And you throw him in the 8th, throwing 70% changeups, and then you throw Foley, throw 98 at your fucking face in the 9th inning. it's going to be tough to stop. What you like the Tommy Canley signing? I mean, I don't think there's anything not to like about it.
Yeah, no, I really don't either. Obviously, you pointed out a bunch of things. It's not really long term, obviously, and you kind of know what you're getting out of him. And he's been in that certain scenarios that you kind of hope that the Tigers will continue to go into this next season. And he, like you said, he just fits perfectly throughout the bullpen. But we didn't have an update, Caleb, and sadly, I tuned in last week and we didn't have an update.
Sure.
Do we have an update now? Because I did see some things on Twitter that the Tigers probably have the best offer out there, but it's just not getting done.
Dude, this is the weirdest, and I think everybody like that kind of covers the Tigers and likes to talk Tigers is kind of having a hard time trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Because now there's reports saying like the Cubs are the most aggressive team. And like some people are saying the Astros are in it. Some people are saying the Astros are totally out. As of right now, I do think the Tigers have the best offer. I think it's probably 6-160. And then number 2, I don't really know. Is it the Cubs? Are they 6-156? Are they is it the Astros? No one knows. So I don't know. You know what, Mike, I'll say this. And I've said it for the past few shows, and I'm going to do it again because I want to be the guy to call it. There's no way he's not a Tiger next week, because at some point this has to end. Dude, pitchers and catchers report in like a couple weeks. Like the season's starting. Like I'm pretty sure Bregman wants to know where he's going to live for the next 6 years pretty soon. And at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if the Dodgers went out and signed them, because this is becoming a lot. And Scott Boras always does this to his clients. And it's so annoying. But like, what are the things you've been seeing on Twitter? Kind of what I said, or you seen?
Yeah. No, basically just what you said. But do you think anything that like has to do with Skubal and a lot of these other higher end players that the Tigers have right now, kind of them being cheap with them? Obviously, Skubal definitely being the main one, and not extending him and getting him kind of wrapped up for the future. Do you think that affects like players like Bregman's thinking like, hey, I'm going to go be here for 6 years, but they're having trouble playing, one of the best pitchers in the MLB. Like, how are they going to build a winning scenario around me if I'm going to come there, if you're not even willing to pay, some of the great players that you do have already for the future,
Yeah, that's a great point, because another report I saw, I don't know if you saw the same one. I think it was from MLB, something MLB. I think maybe MLB Network. Someone went on there and said that the Tigers probably have the best offer, but Bregman just doesn't want to go there. And in my head, I'm like, what about Detroit? Does he not want? Oh, old manager, young team that wins. But you make a great point. He might look at this and be like, yeah, they don't spend money. Like, I don't know if we're gonna, like, are we gonna compete? Down the line, or are they just gonna put everything on my shoulders in the middle of that order as a veteran hitter? It's a great point. I never really thought about that. I hope that's not the case, because that would piss me right off if we're not attracting other free agents because we're not spending money.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you got Gleyber Torres, so like you kind of got another like sure-in thing on the infield as far as that goes. But when you look throughout the roster, you do have a bunch of young guys that, well, you're certain that they are going to take steps forward. You are uncertain with their future in the team and how all that stuff works out. And like when you look at the other scenarios that you brought up, like Houston, obviously that's a winning organization. They've been in the World Series countless amount of times, probably the best team in baseball within the last like 10 years, depending on how you put it. And then you got the Cubs, and the Cubs have been, obviously they had their ups and then they've had a lot of downs. So like for him to kind of be considering the Cubs over the Tigers, I don't know. I just think that's kind of crazy to me. I think given the situations, the Cubs do have a lot of younger players, like Crow Armstrong, a few other young guys that are really good and up and coming. But like what you've seen out of the Tigers last year, and being their only, kind of hole, you could say, would be third baseman or adding another extra bat to like kind of put them over the edge. To choose a situation like Chicago over that, I don't know. It just doesn't make much sense to me. I don't know what like your thoughts are on that. Like I think Detroit has a better winning scenario for now and probably moving forward over the Cubs. So if I was him, you kind of narrow it down, to the Tigers and the Astros at that point. But you already know the Astros kind of put you in a corner to start off with. So it's a weird situation for him.
Yeah, this should be a place players want to come and play. I mean, Detroit, the Tigers, it's a historic franchise. They've been a team forever. In the 2010s, they were really, really good. And, it's just disappointing. I mean, I've said this every show, and I know I'm doing the littering stuff on Twitter, making jokes out of it.
Shout out.
But dude, this is it's insane at this point. It should be done. If it does come down to, Scott Harris has the best offer on the table for him and he just doesn't want to come, so be it. That it's whatever. But if we're getting if this is a competition for money at this point, it's dude, what are we doing? Just get this done. Give him 165 or something. Give him another $5 million. Do something. Just get this done because this has gone on for too long. I haven't seen anything like this in a long time in free agency because he was a top 5 free agent heading into this year and he's still not signed with the team. Usually you see these guys sign in December or maybe even earlier. And, it's February 1st as of today or yesterday, whatever. And he's still a free agent and no one really knows what's going on. It's an annoying situation that we're in right now. And I'm hoping a deal can get done pretty soon. And I'm going to call it again, Mike. Like I said, he's going to be a Tiger by next Saturday. By next Saturday, he's going to be a Tiger.
And I kind of agree with you at that point. If it does come out and then Scott Harris or whatever, the whole management had him an offer out there that was better than the other teams, and he somehow, fumbled back to the Houston or wherever it may be, then you can't be mad at him. But at this point in time, if you don't get Alex Bregman, you still need to go out and get someone else. You can't. And we already talked about it. Our other guy, Santander, he went to the Blue Jays, if I'm correct. Yeah. So every other guy's kind of been eaten up or scooped up out of free agency. So it feels like this chess piece just has to happen, or else you really have. I don't know who else would they go out and get bat wise? Is there anyone else viable out there? And no, I'm not talking about a Mark Canna or anything like that. I want a real bat, And if you're not getting Alex Bregman, there's not much to pick from anymore. So
no, there aren't many, real bats left, unfortunately. But Mike, I want to ask you this question, because I've been seeing this a lot on Twitter, and I think I'm kind of in between. Actually, no, I'm not. I'll give my opinions after you. But so Scott Harris went and got Alex Cobb. He went and got Gleyber Torres. He went and got obviously Tommy Canley. All good signings. Alex Cobb is whatever, not a great signing. I mean, he gave the man $15 million. Not great. Is this offseason for Scott Harris pass or fail? Kind of if he signs Bregman or not. If he doesn't sign Bregman, is this a failed offseason? Because that's what everybody kind of expected to happen for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's failed on the kind of just what we just talked about. If there's not anyone else, if you're not trading, you're not acquiring, signing someone else, you're not getting that other bat, then yes, I would view this free agent signing or these guys probably as a D+, C-, maybe. I don't know, because you didn't really shore up anything throughout your offense. I mean, you got a couple bullpens or a couple adds to the bullpen, but I mean, they've been able to make it work with, little to nothing in there. So Tommy, I'm kind of happy about that signing. Obviously the Cobb one, it's just it's whatever at that point. It's kind of I don't want to say it's Kenta Maeda-esque, but what do we do? What are we doing here? You needed a bat. That was what you went into this offseason hunting for. And you come out with Gleyber Torres, good signing. I like that, even though it is short term, it is what it is. Kind of see what he has. And if he's good for the future, then you extend him. But not getting that elite player to kind of add at third base, that extra bat, no matter if it was Santander, Bregman, that's a fail. You needed that, especially what you've seen your team go through last season. You were a one bat away in so many instances, and you just really need that veteran bat. And playoffs, everything, you've seen it. The team can make it there. You just got to add some stuff. So,
you're
failure in my eyes.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But the weird thing about it is we didn't get worse as a team, man. But we also didn't take enough step. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say, hypothetically, you got better because obviously you're going to get progression out of Riley Green, Meadows, those guys. Cole Keith.
Parker.
But like, I mean, on paper, you didn't do much. You know, like you said, you're kind of here. And this is an offseason after you just made an historical run. And I'm not asking Chris Ilitch and them to go spend like the Dodgers because nobody can. But I'm asking you after a season that you just had an historic run to go show the fans that, yeah, it's go time. Because, you know, I made a video about this. It's like I was at one of the playoff games. It was unbelievable atmosphere. The fans gave Chris Ilitch, you know, the fans, we did our job. We showed out. We put our asses in the seats when this team is good. And, you know, he's not doing his part. We're giving him the money and he's not spending it right now. So that's what's really frustrating to me. And I'd like to see some things change. I'd really like to see some things change because as of right now, it's getting pretty annoying. And like I said, like that, I was at the playoff game. It was unbelievable. And when the Detroit Tigers are good, this city's rocking. And it's like Chris Ilitch just wants us to stay here. And you know, that's what's pretty annoying about it, Mike. I'm not gonna lie. It's getting on my nerves. And I know it's like the easy way out to just fucking pick on Chris Ilitch all the time. But dude, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like we did our part. Well, I want to see something. I want to see something. Because you know what? I'll give credit to a guy like Tom Gores too. It's like he wants the Pistons to be good, whether people like to think that or not. Obviously, Chris Ilitch does too. Chris Ilitch does too. He doesn't want the Tigers to be bad, but Tom Gores like actually wants the Pistons to win. And you know, an example that gets brought up a lot is like Monty Williams, like that situation. He gives him a shit ton of money, and then it didn't work out. He's like, oh fuck, and then he just bought out his contract after 1 year. You know what I mean? So it's like he's willing to spend the money for it, and Ilitch isn't.
Yeah, Tom Gores at least identified that, you know, he was the problem or he made a mistake and he went out and fixed it. And he's done that pretty consistently throughout being an owner. Obviously, he's made some bad decisions here and then. But when it comes to winning, you know the guy will fork up the dollar to make his team there and make his team better. He'll do anything as far as that goes in an ownership standpoint. He'll do anything to see his team successful. You can't really say that as far as Chris Ilitch goes with the Tigers, at least.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, Mike, did you see the WNBA team? That's sick.
Yeah, that's ball.
Dude, that is sweet.
That is ball.
Adam Silver was in Little Caesars Arena the other day talking about it. He's like, it's not like it's going to happen. Who it was Gores, it was the Fords, Grant Hill, the Goffs.
Yeah, just an all-star lineup to own the the Detroit Shock.
Yeah,
the Detroit Shock.
Bring them back. Bring them back. Dude, that'd be so sweet.
They showed the highlights. I mean, I'm sure you probably went to too, and the chat can speak on it too. Those games that back in the day at the Palace Auburn Hills used to be rocking, man. The WNBA showed out in Detroit, so that's pretty cool. I'm excited to see how it is, and obviously they'll probably have to do an expansion draft and kind of rip from the team. So they might get some studs. Who knows? I mean. That's really cool, and that's big for downtown, and that'll be another sporting team of sporting events going on throughout, you know, the off season of the other teams too. So that's good. Good, just grow the game too.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. That'd be sweet. But Mike, we're gonna move on to the Wings here because we were just talking before the show. I watched the game on Thursday night. Holy shit, dude! That team was buzzing. I mean, they just played a better team in Edmonton. The Edmonton has, correct me if I'm wrong, Draisaitl, probably the MVP in hockey. Connor McDavid, who is regarded as the best player in the league, and they went out and beat him. And you know, a couple of guys that impressed me, obviously. Oh, by four in a row. That's the fourth in a row. This team's on a roll, Mike.
Yep.
And you should be victory lapping right now, even though the Pistons are good too. But
too early.
I'm going to say there's two guys that really impressed me. Obviously, Lucas Raymond. I believe he's like 16th in the league in points. The win against, was it the Kings? He had 4 points. That was a couple games ago. He's been unbelievable. Only 22 years old. Is Lucas Raymond reaching that superstar level in your eyes?
Yeah, and if you looked at like a lot of like the superstar wingers that are in the league right now, like some of them didn't even hit their stride this fast. It kind of took time or years, or rather, or it took players being around them. But really, you could say Lucas Raymond has had one down season down. It really wasn't too bad, but you could say he had one down season. Other than that, he's been lights out, and he's going to continue to get better. I think as of now, like you think Dylan Larkin's still probably the best player on your team, but like I don't know how much longer he's actually going to hold that title. I think Dylan obviously is just so good all around. He's so good defensively. You can literally put him out there at any time on the ice, ask him to do anything, and he's going to probably come away victorious or successful at whatever that is. But Lucas Raymond, he's just unreal. I kind of made the comp to like when Braden Point plays as a winger for Tampa Bay, and this was like years ago with me and D-Mac. I was like, that's kind of something I can see him turning into, maybe not as physical, but more as like that scoring type that Braden Point has, maybe not so much around the net, because Braden Point does get a little active in front of the net as well, but he's got a rocket shot, and his playmaking is just unreal. So kind of like that same Yzerman-esque player that he did draft in Braden Point, but he's unreal. Lucas Raymond he's fantastic, and he's going to be a top 5 winger in this league for years to come. Who knows his ceiling? He could even be the best winger. So he's just been unreal. And then another player that probably has gone under the radar is Albert Johansson. Man, that game when you're tasked with like guarding or checking Connor McDavid, keeping him in check, it is not easy. And throughout that game, you've seen multiple instances of him not only checking him, staying in front of him, having great defensive plays, energy, but then he just turns around and breaks the puck right out. And that's been a big struggle point for Red Wings defensemen within the past couple of years is they may make some good sure-end defensive plays, but they haven't been able to move the puck north. They haven't been able to get it out of their own zone and like kind of evade that pressure. But when you see a person like Albert Johansson, super young, still in the 20s, and he's able to make plays and shut down Connor McDavid and immediately zip it back up the ice and just get it out of their own zone. Like that frustrates the hell out of top players. And no matter who's doing that against them, but when it's a younger guy like him, that even frustrates the hell out of them even more. So for like a guy like that to be able to get under, top player skins and be so effective, and he's not only effective defensively, you've seen him in the past, month or so getting up on the rush more, getting more involved offensively too, getting shots on. So like he's been probably one of my more impressive players in this stretch in the past however long. He's just been unreal, and he's going to be a really, really good defenseman for years to come on this Red Wings team. Like he's going to be a part of the future. I guarantee that.
Yeah, that's like when I was watching, what's so fun about the Red Wings to me is that like a lot of this, and actually I want to ask you this question, like we'll get to Casper in a minute, but like what he's doing, what Raymond's doing, Sider's been good, guys like that. Is it normal for players like this? Like Lucas Raymond is 22 years old. Like, is that normal in the NHL to be this good at that age?
No, I mean, obviously Lucas Raymond was, an early pick. I want to say it was 4th. So he's a first rounder. So you do expect first rounders to like get in and get their footing well. But my thing about the Red Wings is every like first round pick, obviously the later round picks have kind of been, I would say hit or miss as far as Yzerman's resume goes, because he's usually, he'll pick up some steals dating back to Tampa Bay. He'll eat up those later rounds and you'll see some quality NHL players. We have maybe seen a little bit like less of that, or rather like maybe they've been slower kind of coming up. But he's had a lot of hits already. Luke, like you speak about it right now, you got Simon Edvinsson, you got Mo Seider, you got Johansson. I mean, you're going to have 2 goalies coming up. You have Lucas Raymond, Marco Casper. Like these are all guys that were drafted in the past couple of years, and then are coming on and they're playing legit minutes in the NHL, and they're not always playing around veterans. They sometimes have the kids lines out there, and they have these guys paired in situations that aren't always favorable for them, and they're still coming out on top. So I would say no, it's not always. You're not always going to see young guys come in and be this successful, but like it's really just the range. Like you've had like superstar as people like Lucas Raymond come out of the draft from them, and then you've had guys like Simon Edvinsson that's kind of taking a little bit slower, but him at the NHL level right now, just he looks like he fits like a glove. So it's shout out to Steve. He's really done well in that first 2 rounds, I guess you could say, and building for the future and building the core of this team.
Yeah, and Mike, one guy that has really stood out to me is Marco Casper. I mean, after McLellan moved him to the first line, dude, that pass he made to Larkin the other night, holy shit! This kid is legit. This is what we've been waiting for. It's like Lalonde was holding him back, and now McLellan has him absolutely buzzing right now. I mean, I'm speechless when it comes to Marco Casper because I think this guy's going to be a star. I think him and Lucas Raymond are gonna, and Dylan Larkin, all these pieces. I think they're gonna win us a Stanley Cup here. How important is the progression of Marco Casper this year, especially in a year you wanna go make the playoffs?
Oh no, it's unreal because a guy like Marco is not only is he so good, he's just so versatile because he's playing on the wing right now. Most likely, he will be moved to center. No matter if it's next year or whenever it is, he will probably be a center for more like his career. But for him to be able to move up on that top line and get those reps with like Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond, and even on the power play too, like he's just looked, like I said, he's fit like a glove on the power play. Like you put him in the middle, he's being aggressive, he's making great plays. And so him just being versatile, being able to do everything has kind of really helped him. And he's just going to be a big part. And obviously, you've seen kind of at the beginning of the year, he was on the second line. He would have the, DeBrincat, Tarasenko wingers, no matter what it was. He was kind of paired in that second line, and it wasn't really meshing. And then they really tried him out on wing, and he got a lot of that energy. He was able to display more of his physicality and kind of impose his will. And when he got moved to that top line with Larkin and Raymond, he really took some pressure off of them. He was drawing some eyes and whatnot. So he was one of the more players, and this is why me and Jeff kind of have the inside joke about it, is when he was drafted, I really called my shot on him, and I don't do that too often because I like to see these players kind of mesh out, see how they develop. But I didn't do this about Nate Danielson. I didn't do this about any of these other guys. I think I did about Lucas Raymond. I really did call my shot on him, but
rightfully so.
Marco Casper, I just knew his type of game and the game that he does play, because he's not that much of a high-end scorer, but he is physical and he does all the dirty stuff. I just knew a player like him would fit perfectly no matter where you put him in the Red Wings lineup. It was just a matter of time with him, and kind of seeing that growth. And even last year with Grand Rapids, he started off pretty slow. And then towards the end of the year, they're like, how the hell could we keep this guy out of this top six and whatnot? And you kind of just seeing his progress. So I think kind of moving him around, obviously you don't want him to be a winger forever, but him gaining that confidence and kind of seeing those top line minutes and that power play minutes and whatnot, that's really going to take him a long way. And he like you said, he's going to be the future too. He's center.
No, he's sweet. I mean, when I was watching the other night, he was one of the players on the ice that really stood out to me. But you bring up he was in Tarasenko's line. I just got to ask you a little betting advice here. Tarasenko, I think he's 1 goal away from 300. Am I correct?
I would have to double check, to be honest.
Is that a good bet there? Maybe Tarasenko to score next game they play. He's got to get. He's going to be going after it. He's going to be going after 300, and there has to be some juice there. I need some juice here, Mike. What do we got?
To be honest, I'll look up the juice. I don't say I would recommend it.
Mike. I just need to hear the word. Let it rip. That's all I need to hear. That's all I need to hear for Tarasenko. Do you know my buddy's
plus 380? So I mean that's
there's some juice there. There's some juice there.
That's hella value.
My buddy's a big hockey guy. Shout out Quinn. He actually has a twin brother, Ty, both great at hockey. We can't even we have a rule for them because they played college hockey when they go play pond. I don't play because I don't skate. But I would just go there and drink beers and stuff. But they have a rule they're just not allowed to score. They just are not allowed. It's called the Beanick rule. I didn't mean to say their last name, but yeah, they're not allowed to. They're not allowed to score. That's the rule. But his favorite bet for the Wings a lot. I always see it in the same game parlays and stuff is always Cider 2+ blocks always, and then he'll put some juice on Raymond points. And
Yeah.
I'll always tail him. I'll
To
always
be
tail
honest,
him.
if I was to take one player to score today, it would be Lucas Raymond. I think that first line last game, obviously they showed a lot of energy. You get Dylan burying that pass from Marco and whatnot. Lucas and Dylan obviously showing up in the shootout. I just think that first line had a lot of opportunity, and it's kind of like tic-tac-toe with them. And I think most games are not. One of them's going to score, and I just think it's Lucas Raymond's time. I mean, you kind of seen Dylan 2 games before that. He had a lot of scoring chances and then didn't end up ultimately getting one. And then next game against Edmonton kind of shores that up. And it was the same way with Lucas that game before that, and Marco scored, I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah,
it's
and
just
Raymond
that
had
first time, or that first line production, and then the fact that you see all those guys on the power play, and the power play too really hasn't hit for us like that, or at least how have we wanted it to. And there's been some injuries too with a lot of the guys going on that power play second line. So yeah, Lucas Raymond anytime tonight.
That's what I like to hear, and I will be putting USD on that on your behalf, obviously responsibly. But the Scratch Golf Show shout out says would love to see Caleb on the ice.
Marco.
Look, man, if you give me a couple days and you give me like a chair that how you hold onto the chair and you're skating. If you give me a couple days and I could do that, I'll be flying on the ice. Look, and I'll say this. Go ahead.
Can you rollerblade?
No, but I'll say this. Look, fat guy, obviously sneaky athletic. I could just get things done. Put me on the court. I'm going to get 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and hit a couple threes for you. Very minimal defense. In baseball, can't hit for a lick, but I'll make some plays at first base, throw some guys out from the outfield. Football, really not much. Really not much in football. I mean, I could toss around the pigskin, but the athleticism is just not there anymore. But, hockey, I'd love to get on the ice. I think that'd be fun. That's something we should do because are you a good skater?
I can skate. We could do a little thing where you play goalie and you have to stop me.
Sure, but what will piss me right off is that if like my friends do this, the guys I was talking about, they'll it's almost like teasing. They'll like skate around me. They'll skate sideways, backwards. Can't have that. Can't have that. If we're gonna do this, Mike, you're gonna have to be a good teacher and you're gonna have to be patient.
No, that's fair. I will. I'll abide by the rules.
Speaking of being patient, Mike,
once or twice, but
no, not happening. Well, not on me. Oh, if I'm a goalie's a whole different story, dude. If I could just stay stationary and just use my big body and get in front of the puck, I mean, I think I'd be a pretty decent goalie.
We may have found the Red Wings. I mean, I know their goalies situation's kind of shoring up. Lion Talbot playing good. Hey, they faced a lot of injuries, Caleb. So we can kind of get you prepped up, get you warmed up. I'll get you down to LTA, get the pads on you, and we'll get you practice rounds. We'll get you out there.
I'm ready. But what I've heard through the grapevine is that goalie is like maybe the hardest position to play because you're always on the ice and you're just getting fucking pelted by 85-mile-per-hour slap shots all the time. I mean, it can't be fun.
Yeah, and there's a million people standing in front of you, blocking your vision. Shit, I give those guys a lot of credit because I'm not stopping shit. Not only am I tiny, I barely cover the whole goal, but yeah, like you said, you got 100-mile-per-hour slap shots at you. You got people in front of you. You're getting elbowed in the face sometimes. You're getting jawed around. It is probably the toughest job for sure.
Yeah, I'm good on that. But
imagine Connor McDavid skating at you one-on-one.
Well, I'm even talking about playing in like a beer league, men's league.
Yeah,
I mean, because some of these guys are like, they don't give a fuck. They don't care who I am. They're just gonna they're gonna pelt me with these things. It would suck. Like, imagine being a beer league goalie. That would be terrible. That'd be the worst thing ever. It'd be the worst thing ever. But Mike, before we get into the Pistons a little bit, I want to talk about Todd McLellan because what he's done to this Wings team, and I feel like we talk about it every Saturday because every week it just gets better and better. The impact he's made on this team. We saw Dylan Larkin make some comments about him, and he had nothing but good things to say about McLellan. The way he turned around this locker room and this team in general. I believe they're 12-4 since he took over.
Yeah.
And what I forgot to look this up. What kind of deal do they have McLellan on? Was this like a 1-year test deal, or do they got him on like a multi-year?
He's the coach of the future. I don't remember the exact.
That's what I like to hear.
Like
That's
4
what
or
I like
5,
to
but
hear.
yeah, so he's going to be around for a long time. And when you kind of make a mid-season coaching change like that, you get rid of Malone, obviously, and rightfully so, and you go out and you sign a guy like that, or you go out and you get your new head coach. Usually, you're expecting it to be like, you're right. It's only till the end of the year or whatever. It's short term, kind of see it out. But the fact that it wasn't kind of already gave you the insight that this Yzerman has had this like premeditated plan, and that this was going to be his guy for the future whenever that time did come with Malone, and he ended up, cutting the strings with him. So yeah, he'll be around for the future. And I mean, like a lot of these guys that you have tied down, the Mosiders, the Larkins, they'll be around for the rest of those contracts. And then obviously some of these new guys getting more re-upped and signed for the future too. He'll be around for those guys too. So good stuff.
Yeah, and dude, you see it in every sport. And also shout out, here's Johnny, Dark Roast Black Coffee, absolute psychopath. That's what I'm drinking right now, Johnny. And it's not good, man. It's no good, man. Do you actually enjoy this stuff? Because I don't know if you saw the beginning of the show, but I'm making the transition to black coffee and I'm not liking it. But Mike, you see it in every sport. It's every new coach that comes in and is a culture guy seems to succeed. And, we talked about this with Ben Johnson a little bit. You could be X's and O's all you want, but if you can't build a culture in that locker room like guys like McLellan have, like Bickerstaff has, like, Dan Campbell has, I don't know how much you're going to succeed. And, that's what I think makes McLellan such a great coach. And obviously you have veterans in that locker room. You have guys like Patrick Kane, who's one of the best ever. You have, guys like Dylan Larkin, who's been in the league in a little bit. And even those guys are like, yep, this guy, he's the real deal. And, is he going to be, I know your answer is probably going to be yes, because you're an optimistic, awesome guy. But is Todd McLellan going to be the one to help raise this Stanley Cup in Detroit? Is he the guy?
I do think so, because I think obviously I don't want to say they have a window, but it kind of they do. I would say in like his like next 4 or 5 years, I think with like a lot of these guys like really entering their prime, it's crazy to say like Mo Sider, Lucas Raymond, those guys are only going to get better and they're going to be at top of the league, sooner rather than later. So I would say yes. And there's like a certain thing, kind of like what you brought up about like controlling a locker room. Like all these sports, they have a lot of superstars. They have a lot of players with egos. And that's why like you give a shout out to like Dan Campbell and like, I mean, JB Bickerstaff really hasn't had too many egos to deal with on that team. But like Dan Campbell, when you're in the NFL, there's a lot of superstars that are coming through the Lions. They want to play for the Lions. So like to be able to like shore down the guys that are ready to put their head down and work and they're all for the team, like that does a lot. And then like obviously Todd, you're walking into the Red Wings kind of mid-season. This team's down in the dumps. You have, a lot of players that have been successful. You have superstars like Dylan Larkin that haven't really been able to reach that pinnacle of success as far as making the playoffs and kind of doing that. So for him to kind of be able to grasp control on the room and get everyone under one level headed, that speaks levels for a coach, no matter what sport it is. Like you said, basketball, football, hockey, Tigers kind of a little different, but like to be able to grasp control of the room when you have, different egos, you have different superstars, to be able to walk in immediately and, just all eyes are on you, all attention is on you. I think that speaks a lot for a coach. And, you ultimately gain a ton of respect from your players from being that way and having control of the room and, stuff like that. So it's huge for Todd. And I think as the more he gets comfortable with these players, the more he knows these players, it's only going to get better for him too. It like, crazy as it sounds, it's been like a goddamn month. Like, and the way the whole, like, 180, he's turned this locker room and this team in that been about a time, like you said, 12-4-1 in his tenure so far. That's just unreal. And it's only going to get better as he gets more familiar and whatnot with this team. So.
Yeah, man. Exciting times. I'm so excited to see how this team progresses and watching their playoff push. But speaking of a playoff push, Detroit Pistons get a big win over the Mavs last night. Cade Cunningham, all-star, All-star Cade
Shout
Cunningham.
out.
I can get used to saying that because this guy is on a different fucking level right now. He is on superstar status. If you look at ESPN, if you look at SportsCenter, Bleacher Report, all those places, it's all Cade Cunningham. Motorcade. He is here. He is a superstar. He is going to be the reason this team wins a championship in the next 5-ish years because he is the real deal. When he decides to take over games, this guy is something else. He could score at will. He could get his teammates involved. He can go out and play defense. He can guard 1 through 3 with a 6'7" frame. The way he plays is so it's playoff basketball the way he plays. It's so methodical. He could slow the game down. He could speed the game up. This guy is absolutely unbelievable. 40 points for Cade Cunningham last night. Obviously on 30 shots. He's been taking a lot of shots recently, but I don't hate it. He just wants to prove that, hey, I'm here. I'm a superstar. I deserve to be an all-star. He made it over guys like Trae Young, who's averaging a 20-point double-double. LaMelo Ball, who's averaging 28 points and a ton of, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. Yep. Tyrese Halliburton. And I say this respectfully, obviously. I'm trying not to swear fuck Tyrese Halliburton and fuck the Pacers. I am happy that Tyrese Halliburton didn't make it. That's a real rivalry right there. And I love it. I love that rivalry right there. But yeah, what are your thoughts about Cade Cunningham being an all-star? Because, dude, I need to calm myself down a little bit because even on the Crunch Time account, dude, it's all Cade Cunningham. And, dude, like, he might be my favorite Detroit sports athlete. Like, he's lived up to all the hype. What were your initial reactions to seeing Cade get the nod?
One, I was just happy for him because obviously this roster and this team organization, when Cade got drafted number 1, that was like our only glimpse of hope to, turn this franchise around. So for him to kind of be taking steps towards that, and, he's carried really most of this team, and what he's built, what this team's been built around has been built around him. So it's good to honestly just see that man happy and smile because there's no one that has deserved it. I mean, last year, dude, that dude looked like he wanted to strangle someone after some of those losses. So like, I'm super happy for him, and there's probably no more deserving player in the East that could have, I know LaMelo Ball and there was a few other guys that, Trae Young, whatnot, missed that last spot, but none of those guys deserved it over Cade Cunningham. Let's be honest. Like, he's been playing at an all-star level, and when the Pistons begin to shore up this roster and they get another superstar next to him, they get that number 2 next to him, he's going to be unfucking real. And when it comes down to playoff basketball, he's going to be a treat. So speaking of a treat, here we go.
Little surprise here. We got Mr. Jeff Iafrate in the building.
I had to reel him in for the Pistons talk because he needs to take his victory lap, rightfully so, on Cade, because this has been the day one supporter. This has been the guy that he put the hammer down and said, "This is our guy," and he's going to turn it around. So we have to let Jeff speak his piece on it too.
Well, I'm here to protect my friend Caleb. All right, Caleb, I'm going to let you. You've been spitting. All right, point blank, and I'm here to back you up. I'm going to be your hype man today. All right, the Pistons. I mean, they're back. Okay, this win streak, it's just starting. All right, and I'm telling you, 35 wins. That's what we talked about before the season. I'm bumping it to 40.
I'm looking at 40 now, Jeff. I'm looking at 40.
Wait a minute.
I'm looking at 40. I'm looking at that 4-0, and I'm looking at securing a playoff spot. No more play-in. We're locking it in. We're locking in a playoff spot. Like, we're going to be watching the play-in going, who are we facing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at today, boys.
Gonna get that first round bye. Thank you for joining, Jeff. Obviously, it's always good to have a little backup, but I will say, Jeff, the dynamic you and Gentry have with Wings and Pistons. Obviously, you love the Wings, but dude, I gotta stay in the middle here because obviously love the Pistons, but those Red Wings, they're buzzing right now, and we just talked about it. They're playing well. They're playing well, and Mike Sky, Marco Casper, 4 in a row. Four in a row.
Hey, they play Calgary tonight, Canucks, who just traded their best player, and then they play the Kraken later on in the week too. So before Pistons, this is all to finish up the road trip. They might go on a 7-gamer again. Who knows? I mean, it's a lot saying. Obviously, every game's tough in the NHL, especially on the road. Calgary's been playing all right, but cracking, showing some spurts too. But these are all very winnable games too, especially with the way they're playing. So
Pistons on a they're on a 6-game homestand, 5-game homestand. It started yesterday with the Mavs. So they're gonna string together a couple wins there. They play the Bulls on Sunday. The Bulls suck. There's obviously some players that I want from the Bulls. We're gonna get into that in a little bit. But Jeff, I want to ask you, Cade Cunningham, the impact he's made on this Pistons team, and what were your initial thoughts when you saw Cade got the nod? Because I think this is so huge for not only him but the entire organization.
Yeah, I mean it's ironic. Every single year, you're gonna find a list where it's top 100 up and coming players or top 100 players under 24, whatever, top 30 players, and this dude's always fucking 30, 89. Or back of any ranking when it comes to guys that are in the league that have a lot of potential. So it's actually ironic that the guy that is always at the back of those lists is balling. And I'm going to be honest, I said this on the show. If you're looking at guys in the league under 24, I'm taking Cade to build a franchise around. Like it's him, Victor. I think Victor's probably the one you could look at and be like, I'll take Victor. He's in that conversation. So the fact that he got All-Star, it's awesome because he deserves it. He's a franchise player. That was the biggest thing with Cade is always like, is he a number one, someone that can, lead you to a championship? Is he going to be kind of a number two to number one that you have on the team when you eventually acquire someone or draft someone, whatever it is? That dude's his game. The thing I love about Cade's game is it's going to in the playoffs, it's going to translate. Like a guy like Cade in the playoffs, being as methodical as he is, he's a 3-level scorer. He's a playmaker. He's a big guard too. So again, when teams are trying to get him on different players, get him in pick and rolls, he can switch on different defenders. He's not a terrible defender. So I like a lot of what Cade brings, man. He's special. And the fact that, the Pistons are where they are with this man playing the way he is, and they don't really have they got pieces like Jalen Duren's playing better. Malik Beasley shooting like one. I mean, best acquisition in my lifetime. Okay, he's playing his ass off.
It could be.
The dude is letting it rip. I think he's second in the league in threes. Like the team they've constructed the way they've built it, like around Cade, it's been awesome. You got a mix of guys that can shoot the ball, that can defend. Asar's back. That's awesome because I feel like when Asar came back, he brought a lot defensively. Now you see him starting. So listen, I've only gained more confidence of how good this dude's going to be. And he is a true franchise player. Now, what they do at the trade deadline is going to be interesting because, it's probably going to be a guy. I mean, we've talked about this, Caleb. Like, I just want another guy that can help him out when it comes to initiating offense. Like, I'm looking at Lonzo Ball. I love that idea. I think Lonzo on this team, can you initiate offense? Can you take the ball a little bit out of Cade's hands? Just a little bit. We just need someone to help him out a little bit. He's the only dude that can initiate offense. I mean, besides, occasional, you got a little
Sasser's done okay.
Sasser, but still at least a playmaker. I mean, Lonzo would be setting people up, so he could actually, initiate the offense, run the offense. That's why I would be down for Lonzo. But Cade, man, it's awesome from getting disrespected his rookie year to now and being an all-star. It's awesome. It's awesome.
It's awesome.
I could still argue this is going to be crazy coming out of my mouth. Jeff's going to gasp at this. He's still being disrespected. Like a 40-point night yesterday, and he shoots 3 free throws. At what point in time does he start getting the all-star whistle? Like that? That's just fucking ridiculous. You got bums on the other team shooting double the amount of free throws as him, and he's taking it to the rack 50% of the time. And he just never gets a whistle. I hope something changes after the all-star game. Maybe that's when they officially draw the line. Hey, we can start fucking calling fouls. But having a 40-point night and shooting 3 free throws never happens.
And that makes it even more impressive. He had to take 30 shots to get 40. And people are going to look at the box score and say, oh, he took 30 shots, though. Like you said, he shot 3 free throws. And what pisses me off, and we kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday, is there shouldn't be an all-star whistle. If it's a foul, it's a foul. That's the way it should be. If a guy, if a better player, if a Joel Embiid goes up for a layup, gets hacked, puts his arms up and says, what the hell? They shouldn't blow the whistle just because he's pissed. That's what's making me mad. And, again, we talked about this a little bit last night. It's I obviously love JB Bickerstaff, love what he's done with the Pistons. He's been fantastic, but he's a guy that's going to have to reel everybody in. He has to reel a guy like Stu in. He has to reel Cade in. He can't be the one. arguing with the refs all game like he has been. But I like it more than Monty Williams standing there with his arms crossed, just watching Cade get fucking killed out there. But, JB Biggerstaff has to, I think, calm him down a little bit, because you saw in Indiana, they beat themselves because they weren't getting any calls. The Pacers were getting calls. Obviously, Stu gets ejected. But yeah, Jeff, I want to touch on Lonzo Ball a little bit, because I would be okay if, and I never say this about a Pistons deadline, but I would be okay if Trajan just sat on his hands all trade deadline and just traded. And I know you're not going to like this. I'd be okay if he traded Simone Fontecchio for Lonzo Ball straight up. I would be so happy, because, dude, you look at a guy like Lonzo Ball. He is going to be so good with guys like Ron Holland, Malik Beasley in that second unit. Ron Holland catching Lonzo Ball lobs. Yes, please. That'd be amazing. You get defense in that second unit. And who's to say he can't play off the ball with Cade on the floor? Lonzo Ball was a 42% 3-point shooter in Chicago 2 years ago.
No, he can shoot the ball.
He's gonna get a lot of open catch and shoot looks with Cade, because Cade obviously draws a lot of double teams. Lonzo Ball and Marcus Sasser. Marcus Sasser is going to benefit. It will be so beneficial for a guy like Marcus Sasser, where he can play more off the ball and get more catch and shoot opportunities with a guy like Lonzo. Lonzo Ball is the perfect fit for Detroit. I will start a petition. I will send it to everyone. I will get it signed, and I will send it to Trajan. It's not going to take much. Get Lonzo Ball here, boys. But this leaves me at a point where it's like, I don't know what to do. I mean, obviously, Trajan says he wants to take on, money now so he could take on bad contracts so he can get money. Everything's kind of switching back and forth with the Pistons at this deadline. Like Trajan, like a couple weeks ago, he said, wow, I didn't know we were going to be this good. I want to acquire players that are going to help us win. Now we're going to acquire contracts. What direction do you guys want to see the Pistons going? Like, because the past couple of years, it's been acquiring contracts, for picks. Do you want to see them make a winning move? And by winning move, I'm talking to Levine, who's having a career year. I'm talking a guy like, Brandon Ingram, or a guy like maybe Lauri Markkanen, who we're going to see be more in trade talks coming next week. Do you want to see them make a winning move?
I think where Trajan's looking at this is like, okay, we got young wings that we're getting a lot of playing time right now that are blossoming, like Asar, Ron Holland. Now Fontecchio, I will agree, you can trade his ass. All right, okay, we can break bread there. Okay, you can ship him out, shoot him out of a cannon, and that's fine. Now, like in terms of acquisition, if I'm Trajan, I think the way he'll approach it, and the way I think he should approach it, is taking on an expiring deal, but someone that can still contribute. I don't know about making that move now, like to try and go all in. To me, that would be a sign of a first-time GM panicking a little bit. Like, okay, this team's better than I expected. We got to find a star out here, a Levine. Like Levine to me is not the answer, and he would be fine. He'd be great. Like, I like Levine. He's a good basketball player, very good. But to me, I don't think that comes at the deadline. I think what happens is probably a move like Lonzo makes more sense, because it's a move, but it's a move you can get off of eventually, but it's someone that can help you right now. That's kind of how I see the deadline. I think a move like that comes with, you're looking at the roster in the offseason. You're like, what do we need? Okay. You gave I don't want to take away, it's tough. Like, I don't think number one, who would they go all in for? What would they have to give up to go all in for someone? I don't know if they have that. And B, I think that Trajan wants to keep, the core they have playing. Maybe you just add a piece like Alonzo or someone else out there. But to me, that's not a move. I don't think it's a move where you're getting some big time player to come at the deadline. Like, I don't think it's that type of deadline where it's like, we're a player away. So I think there'll be a trade. I think there'll be an acquisition, but I think it'll most likely be an expiring deal, take on some more assets. And then in the offseason, then you can make a decision like that. Do you feel like you're closer than you're closer than you think? Okay, go all in, make a move. But I don't think it happens at the deadline, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Caleb?
Mike? No, I agree with Jeff. I was saying.
I put a Booner's comment.
Yeah, Jimmy.
No, I don't want Jimmy Boom. There is nothing you can say that can convince me that Jimmy Butler would be a good fit on this basketball team. There's nothing. There's nothing you can convince me. I'm Jeff. I've been saying it. There's a
I've been with
100 times.
I don't want.
There's a common denominator in all these situations. In all this situations, Chicago, Minnesota, Philly. We don't want that in our locker room. But, speaking of culture a little bit, boys, I'm going to bring up one player, and it's just a yes or no, because you got to think about it. This guy's on an expiring deal. This is a guy that other teams are going to would love to, real contending teams would love to have, a team like Boston, Denver. Tim Hardaway Jr. This is a guy that has helped build a culture with guys like Tobias Harris, JB Bickerstaff, Malik Beasley, these veterans coming in. And he's been a great three-point shooter alongside Cade Cunningham, a good option for Cade. Is this a guy you move on from? Because if you don't trade him, it's like, do you re-sign him? He's 32 years old. He's on a 1-year deal. Is this a guy you trade? I'd be upset if you traded him, but I don't
think we do. I think you could probably re-sign him, and like he's like kind of one of those locker room guys that like means a little different. You can tell that he meshes well with this young team, and then obviously he's from here, went to school here. So I think you can kind of get him on like a lower term deal, obviously kind of keep him locked down, keep that veteran. And like you said, he's been good. I think there's other expendable guys, even though you do have wings like Ron Holland and Asor that you expect to kind of take that step forward. I still think there's a spot for a guy like Tim Hardaway, and you can never have too many lengthy 3-and-D guys that can shoot and, play defense. So personally, I wouldn't. Like you said, there's Simone Fontecchio. There's a few other guys that you can move on from. And I think he's kind of shown his value, him and Malik Beasley. Like, I don't see how you don't bring Malik back. Like, if we don't bring Malik back, I will be severely fucking pissed. But that's just my thing.
Yeah, you have to extend Malik Beasley. Have to.
Yeah.
I mean, Caleb, Tim Hardaway, he's a very, very fine role player. Okay, he's shooting, I think, like 38% on the year from three. All right, he's been fine, but if you're looking at guys that are probably getting traded, he's the one. Like, try and look at it from an opposing team. If I'm some other team in the NBA reaching out to the Pistons, do I want to reach out? And let's say I'm Trajan, I go, "You want Fontecchio?" They're gonna be like, "Fucky no, I don't want Fontecchio." All right,
nice,
get out of here. All right, and then Tim Hardaway Jr., I could be interested. All right, that's a guy that a role player. I might be interested in Tim Hardaway. He's probably, if you're going to trade an asset, he's probably the asset that has the most and value, I guess. Not that he's worth a lot, but
don't get me wrong, if that's like the thing that puts makes the Chicago Bulls say yes, is you have to give up Tim Hardaway instead of Simone Fontecchio. I don't give a shit, but I'm just saying, like, he has, I think, has a future and has a role built out with him with this team. And like, you've kind of seen him even, I mean, I don't follow the Pistons that much, but he's always out there vibing with the team and out there doing other activities with the team. So he's like a locker room guy. And I think you could always find a spot for like that. And especially the role that he plays, NBA teams need 3-and-D guys everywhere. So yeah, he could be easily, traded and whatnot, but he's easily a guy that you could keep around.
Yeah, Mike, you're exactly right. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's like, what does trading a guy like Tim Hardaway Jr. do to a young locker room like this? Because you saw, like, it was Tim Hardaway Jr.'s idea to like go to Buc-ee's. Like when they all went to Buc-ee's, it was his idea. Obviously,
trade him now.
All right, get him
you're
out.
not a Buc-ee's guy. You're not a Buc-ee's guy.
Trade him now. I take that,
dude. I said this is fucking crazy. You guys. I've never had it.
That's a cult.
But this seems like some hater shit because you two are the only people that hate Buc-ee's, I think, ever.
No, that's like some Epstein Island shit, dude.
No.
Bro, what's so bad
about it? The food was phenomenal, but that's
the whole point.
There's no way you can go around it that isn't a cult.
Caleb.
Like we seen Bucky in the flesh, like people were running out of their cars, screaming, running up to take pictures with a guy dressed up in a beaver costume, like just screams cold.
No,
that's why Booner wanted to go there. Booner's a big cold guy.
I witnessed a grown ass man. Okay, this man was probably in his 40s, maybe 50s. No problem with that. But Bucky came out and he said, "Bucky!" and started running. Like,
Okay, let me ask you this: if you saw Hooper walking around, would you go ask Hooper for a picture?
No.
Is that a cult that you like the Pistons?
Okay, but Hooper's a
These people like
mascot for
puppies.
he's a mascot for a pro basketball team. He's not a mascot for a fucking gas station.
Where is Bucky's? Where'd you guys go?
There was
think
one
it's
on
like-
our way to Nashville.
Yeah, what
I don't
state?
remember what state we were in.
I can't remember either. But it
Yeah,
was it was bad. It was
If
like,
it's in-
Bucky, no way, it's Bucky. And they went up to him, and then I'm like, I looked at the boys, I go, we got to get the fuck out of here. Like, this is not a spot I want to be.
They had
It
the
seems
dude,
like some hater stuff, dude.
they had the dude cooking the brisket, and I don't even remember. They all started singing a song, and he just brings the big ass knife above his head and starts chopping it. I was like, this guy is insane, dude. It's like 10 in the morning. They're like singing a ritual. Like Boone's over there, lost his mind. He's just staring at Bucky. Like,
I mean, yeah, it was. Listen, I respect people that enjoy Bucky's. Just
Well, they're cult members, dude. They're cult members.
Definitely a cult for sure. Gives me cult vibes.
Okay, well, unbelievable accusation by Jeff Iafrate. But boys, we're gonna wrap it up here. 10 o'clock. Can people still buy tickets for the Tyler Conklin Foundation?
Yes.
Yeah. Links in the description. And if you visit Tyler Conklin's foundation, you can. There's other ways you can donate, but yeah, we'll be there. Can't wait for it.
We'll be there 12 to 3. If you bought a ticket, we'll see you there. And if you have nothing to do today, buy a ticket, show out. Great show today, fellas. Jeff, thank you for coming on and giving me some backup. Even though I will say Mike has been pretty nice to the Pistons. So,
I have been.
but it's always
even
good
when
to
you guys were slandering Stu the other day. I saw a vision. He's still an idiot, but you know, but I get it. I get it.
Well, I appreciate your honesty, Mike. Hope you guys have a good weekend, and go Wings. Play tonight. Go Pistons. Play tomorrow. Peace.
Deal. Bye.